first week plus here in Saints camp, we heard an awful lot of Peyton positivity from the head coach. But on this Friday, that tone changed quite a bit. Good evening from the Greenbrier. I'm Mike Neighbors, continuing CST's coverage of Saints Training Camp 2015. Today, of course, the black and gold scrimmage. Some notable absences on both sides of the football. On offense, no C.J. Spiller, no Teron Armstead, no Tim Lelito. And on defense, no Akeem Hicks. Unfortunately, we weren't able to shoot any of the black and gold scrimmage as the Saints wouldn't allow us to turn the cameras on at all. If we had, you would have saw, well, a lot of sloppiness, a lot of bad substitutions, guys lining up wrong, and as a result, Sean Payton not happy at all.
We've got to be able to handle the substitutions better. That's one thing for sure. And those are detail things, and those are things that'll get corrected. We go out there today, we got 12, we got 12, we got 10. I mean, listen, that's got to be cleaned up.
That's more play. Coaches can't.
No, that's all of it. That's all of it. That's not just players. Don't get me started. All right, it'll get corrected.
It seems like you tell the same story every year. You know, it's sloppy. I think guys are really trying to do well. No matter how many times they tell you this is just like practice, it just doesn't feel like it's just practice. It's as soon as you tag it with the name scrimmage, I think guys are kind of amped up a little bit.
We weren't as sharp as we need to be. I think there were some good individual efforts. As we watch the tape, you know, all that stuff will kind of show itself, but just shows we got a lot of work to do.
Drew Brees and the ones actually look good in this black and gold scrimmage. He led a touchdown drive. Out of the four quarterbacks, Ryan Griffin was the only quarterback not to lead a touchdown drive. The quarterback, though, getting the most action. How about the newbie, rookie Garrett Grayson? He had his ups leading a touchdown drive, but he also had his downs, an interception to backup safety Vinny Sansari. A typical first scrimmage for the first-year Saints signal caller.
Like any young quarterback, I mean, there's going to be struggles. He has a lot thrown at him at this point. You know, when you talk about the complexities of the offense and, you know, all that we're responsible for at the quarterback position. So you got a lot running through your mind, but overall, I thought he handled it well.
So the Rook will continue to learn some stars in today's black and gold scrimmage. How about Ben Watson, who continues to have a great camp? Mark Ingram, some solid runs, and he really showed off his whole resume, catching a touchdown pass as well. And we can't leave out veteran wide receiver Marcus Colston. Started this camp on the PUP list, but is getting more and more comfortable each and every practice today, catching a touchdown from Drew Brees.
I've been able to get more and more team reps, and obviously it's a little different than just running routes on air. So, you know, the timing is coming back, and, you know, the condition is getting where it needs to be.
The progress has been steady. We've been smart, and, you know, his weight's right where we want it. I think his conditioning level's good. So he got some work today. That was the plan. And, you know, we'll continue to be smart as we work through this.
You know, it's quiet out here now, but if you were here a couple hours ago, you would have heard an awful lot from Rob Ryan, and we'll keep this a family show, so I can't pass on what he was saying, but he wasn't happy with his Saints defense, especially many of the young players who weren't lining up correctly. Of course, this Saints defense has another set of eyes this year, a different hierarchy, so to speak. Rob Ryan is your defensive coordinator, but Dennis Allen is a senior assistant. Two guys who are working together trying to turn this unit around from an awful 2014 campaign.
DA and Rob, they deal with the defense in such different ways. It's giving you two different angles of looking at things, and I think this is going to do nothing but make us a better, faster, stronger defense.
The players like the potential of Rob Ryan and Dennis Allen working together, a partnership which was, of course, the brainchild of Sean Payton, who didn't hesitate to bring in his former assistant when he was let go in Oakland last season.
Well, he's had experience here with us before. He was on our early staffs all the way up past the Super Bowl season. I think up until 11. So there's some experience that I have with them. I think the fit has been outstanding.
My job is to be an assistant coach, and what I've learned as a head coach, I understand, you know, a lot of the things that Sean deals with on a daily basis, and so I think it's made me a better assistant coach. I know what my job is. My job is to do everything I can to help him to be successful. And that's what I'm going to do.
Unlike Allen and Payton, Ryan has never been a head coach, and so far hasn't said a lot about Allen individually. He seems to be looking at his addition as part of a team effort on this coaching staff.
With our whole staff on defense, you know, we've got some outstanding coaches, and when we work well together, I think you know, you've got Dennis Allen, Joe Vitt, Bill Johnson, Crime Dog. I mean, good God. I mean, this is Marcus Ungaro. This is a great staff.
I think it's a good match. I think the biggest thing is both of us are committed to winning. Both of us are committed to putting our players in the best position to have success. And I think, neither one of us have such an ego that gets in the way of us doing what's right.
On the surface, the two coaches appear polar opposites. In fact, Peyton has termed them Felix and Oscar. The Saints' odd couple moniker seems to fit, with Ryan being the outspoken rebel, while Allen comes across as more straight-laced. But maybe looks can be deceiving.
You guys seem to portray me as kind of the stick in the mud, man.
I'm asking you. I'm not saying anything.
Let's have fun, too. We were going to have him cut his hair and me grow mine out, but I don't know if that would work.
Rob Ryan, Dennis Allen, definitely two different personalities for sure. Well, coming up next on our CST show here at the Greenbrier, our daily camp counselor, and we have a good one, national writer from the Bleacher Report, Mike Tanier. It will be interesting to hear his perspective on the New Orleans Saints. That's coming up next. All right, our coverage continues here at the Greenbrier in a segment we always enjoy, our daily camp counselor. We bring in kind of another set of eyes to counsel us on the Saints. And today's guest, Counselor Mike Tanier, the NFL lead writer for Bleacher Report. Mike, or Counselor Mike, I appreciate your time.
It's great. I'm working on everything except my tan out here.
You have time, though. I don't know. Kind of overcast today. And you got to head out of town after this. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. You cover the whole league. What's the national perspective on this team coming off a 7-9 year?
I think that the people have fallen asleep on the Saints a little bit. I've heard a lot of negativity out there, some shocking negativity, because I don't know who people think is going to win the NFC South. What I don't think people understand is this team has changed its identity a little bit, changed its character a little bit. It hasn't just lost guys, it's brought guys in as well. And you can see that reflected in what we've seen on the field the last couple days.
When you talk about Drew Brees, the national story with him is he doesn't have the arm strength he used to. He may be on the decline. What's your take on that?
Well, Tom Brady doesn't have the arm strength anymore, and look at what happened this year, And again, it's a little bit of a different character of the team this year. You might see more running the ball. You might see more short passing come in. The bottom line is Drew Brees the last couple of years has been doing it a lot with his off-speed pitch, and I think you're going to see more of that. And this is a team that can win very effectively with that. I didn't see any problems today with his arm, that's for sure.
The NFC South is really unpredictable division each and every year. I mean, for a while, whoever finished last would be first the next year, and vice versa. Tampa Bay's still rebuilding. Atlanta's getting older. Carolina's always kind of that wild card. Right. Where do you see the Saints in this NFC South?
Well, I think they did the right thing in this offseason. They did not look at their salary cap situation and say, let's sit on what we have and let's put everything on Drew Brees' and Jimmy Graham and roll for it. Bringing in Brandon Browner, drafting for defense, making some of the changes, and bringing in Ellerby, who we haven't seen a lot yet. That changes the complexion and the character.
As an NFL writer, going around the league, you know how that running back position has changed and really evolved in a different way the last couple of years. But Mark Ingram gets the big contract in the offseason. Should have rushed for over 1,000 yards a year ago if he would have stayed healthy. Is having a good camp. I know it's early so far. What do you see Mark Ingram in terms of where he ranks among all NFL running backs? Seems like he's gaining ground a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's always going to be underrated because in this system there's always going to be a committee. There's always going to be a rotation. I think we'll see C.J. Spiller doing a lot of things. I think we'll see Kerry Robinson doing a lot of things. That said, there's going to be a role, especially this year, I know there was last year, for a little bit more of that traditional grinder, somebody who's going to take 20 carries off tackle. That's going to be Mark Ingram's role, and I think it's something that he showed last year he can absolutely excel at.
I'm asking every guest this, every camp counselor, a lot of ifs for this New Orleans Saints football team. More ifs than we've seen maybe since Sean Payton's first year on the job. Different kind of ifs. But when you look at all the ifs for the Saints, what's the one if that really has to go their way for them to be successful this year?
I think if this new secondary gels and stays together, and you get this Brandon Browner, Keenan Lewis situation on the side where you have your Seahawks version of the cornerbacks, that comes in, that takes away a weakness that has been a weakness for the last couple of years. Then things that happen on offense, everything gets easier. You're not worried about playing catch-up. You're not worried about throwing the ball 50 times a game. That puts Drew Brees back in his comfort element. That lets Sean Payton kind of dictate to the opponents, and that changes the whole complexion of the team.
Are the New Orleans Saints a playoff team, Mike?
I have them as a playoff team, and some of the people I know have them as a playoff team. And when you get into the playoffs, you can't underestimate Drew Brees once he's in that situation.
Well, listen, great job counseling. I appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of the month. It's going to be busy.
Oh, absolutely, and can't miss it.
Coming up next, our quote of the day surrounding, well, who else? The central and maybe the loudest figure of today's scrimmage, defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. His guys will weigh in on what they heard. Welcome back to CST's coverage of Saints Training Camp 2015 here in West Virginia. Our final segment, we, of course, feature the quote of the day in today's Black and Gold scrimmage. Rob Ryan, a central figure. If you were a fan or member of the media, you could hear him, but if you were a player, you could really hear him. So I had to ask defensive back Brandon Browner, what did you hear?
You heard him. He was intense.
Come on, I dealt with Greg Williams a couple of years back, my rookie year. Anything other than that, you get used to it. Spags wasn't a cursor like that, you know. Spags scared me. You know, Spags was internalized everything, and then he let it go once we got behind closed doors.
Cam Jordan, always entertaining. Well, that wraps up this show from West Virginia. We'd like to thank our camp counselor, Mike Tanier from the Bleacher Report. I'm Mike Neighbors. We'll see you again Sunday night.